Hello, so we actually have a new phone from Google now. It's actually the Google Pixel 3a and the Google Pixel 3a XL. Kind of hard things to remember, but just remember it's got the A after it. And they're basically going to be a kind of a lower to mid-range phone. They start at $399, they go up to about $479. And let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to show you that it comes in 3 different colors. I'll go through the specs with you guys on both of those different types of phones. There's the 3a and the 3a XL. And then we'll go ahead and show you kind of what they're all about. At the end, we're going to give you our opinion on what the phone, you know, if it's a good phone, a bad phone, and then you guys can make your decision. So stay tuned and let's dive into it. All right, so basically, what is my opinion on these phones? Well, the phone actually hits a very specific market. It's going to be between maybe something like the Moto G7 and maybe the OnePlus One 6T, somewhere in that range, maybe the $600 to $400 range. Obviously, though, this brings a little bit more to the table, which is going to be the Google Pixel camera. So if you think about it, all the other phones, you know, when you have a phone, you know, a lot of times the processors could be a little bit slower. You could have a little bit less RAM. Most people aren't going to notice that, especially when you're getting up to like 4, 6, or 8 gigs of RAM. And some of these processors are really fast. Unless you're playing like really high-end games and stuff, it's not going to make a difference. The one thing that does make a huge difference though nowadays is the camera. And this Google Pixel, this new one for the $399 up to like I think $479, is going to come with the exact same camera that's on the you know, the Google Pixel 3 right now in the 3XL. So it's the 3A and the 3A XL. So it's basically going to have that same camera, and you're going to get that for that same cost of, you know, for a much lower cost of $399. And I think that's actually the reason why a lot of people are going to buy this phone. All right, so the very first thing we want to go over is just the dimensions of them really quickly. Here's the smaller one, the Pixel 3a. It's going to be a 5.6-inch display. And then we got the Pixel 3a XL, which is going to be a 6.0. So not much of a difference, especially today when the phones are so big. So it's kind of refreshing to see a 5.6 and maybe a 6.0. But if you want that huge phone, this is not the place for you. All right, so let's go over the colors of these phones. So it comes in only 3 different colors, which actually I guess is pretty standard nowadays for a lot of these phones. The first one's called all black, and here it is. It's basically going to be all black, including the buttons. I guess that's why they do call it that. It's got a single camera on the back here. It's got the fingerprint sensor on the back as well. And basically, if you spin this around, it doesn't have the notch. None of these phones have the notch. They got rid of the notch, but they do have a kind of a bigger bezel. Just to keep that in mind when you're purchasing this one. It's not a bezel-less phone, but this one's all black. It's going to be black even on the buttons all the way around. And one thing to note that this does have the headphone jack, which is a huge plus. They actually added that back. So the next color here is going to be what they call, it's called purplish, as you can see. And again, this one's basically, it's very faint to the eye if you see it in real life, but it's kind of a purple hue. And if you look at it, it's got the yellow button over here, which is the kind of the distinguishing mark. But it's almost white. It doesn't even look purple unless you have it next to purple stuff. So a guy could potentially have this, as I think it's more for girls. But again, it's the same exact thing. It has the single camera. This is going to be the same with the Pixel 3a and 3a XL. They're very similar in the way they look, just a little bit bigger on the glass. Again, same difference here. You can kind of see the bezel a little bit easier on this one because it's not, you know, as dark as the black one. Anyways, go ahead and take a look at this, and then I'll show you the last color here, which is going to be the white one, and they basically call it clearly white, and this looks very familiar. Again, it's got that orange button here. As you can see, that's basically been on some other Pixels that they've had. They actually have the Google brand down here. If you spin it around again, too, same thing on the front. It's got the bezel, single camera on the front. It does have stereo speakers. It does say on the front and the bottom, and then it does have the place where you can put the SIM card on the side here. So there's the white version of the phone. This phone does come with the unlimited storage as well, like the other Pixels, so you don't lose that, even though this is a lower priced phone. So go ahead and keep that in mind when you're looking at this phone, that you do get the unlimited storage on Google when you buy the Pixel phone, and this one's included as well. All right, so the battery on this phone is going to be for 30 hours, and we'll go through the battery specs in a second, but they have 2 different size batteries. The 3A is going to have a little bit smaller battery than the 3A XL, and we'll go over that in a second, but it does say 30 hours. The phone does have fast charging also, so basically it says enjoy up to 7 hours and then 15-minute charge. So it does use the USB-C here for the fast charging, and I believe it's like 14 watts or something. We'll go ahead and get into that in a second, but you know, just mark that does have fast charging. The phone also does have the squeeze function, just like the other phones do, so you can squeeze your Pixel or say hello Google and actually wake the phone. So basically you can squeeze the sides of the phone, and then you can go ahead and opens up the Google Assistant, and you can go ahead and talk to it. So that's very similar with the other versions, and they kept it on this phone, which is a great feature to have. And again, with that camera, you do get the night sight, which is the new features on, the older Pixels as well. So you get that same camera, you get the night sight, which really helps you take some great night shots. And it goes ahead and kind of compares it against the iPhone or the iPhone X here versus the Pixel 3a. Obviously, these are just examples, but you can go ahead and see that it does kind of work like this in real life, so you don't lose out on that feature as well. All right, so let's break down the tech specs on this. So basically the operating system for both the 3A and the 3A XL are going to be very similar. They have Android 9.0 Pie, and then they basically come with the 3 years of guaranteed updates, which is a huge feature. It's one of the best in the industry on the Google's Pixels, and it doesn't lose that. So that's a great feature for this new phone, even though it starts at $399. Let's go ahead to display here, and we'll go ahead. This is something a lot of people have questions about. So basically the 3A, let's start with a smaller one. It's a 5.6-inch display, but it's 2220 by 1080. So it's basically a 1080p, even though it's a little bit different dimension. 441 ppi. It does have an 18:9 aspect ratio. Always on display, now playing, has that feature built into it as well. Let me see here. It's got the D67 white point, and let me see, there's a couple other things. It is actually, I believe, an OLED display. So yeah, here it is, OLED display. So that's important as well. The Pixel 3a XL is going to be 6 inches, like we said earlier. It's got a little bit different resolution, 2160. This was 2220, but 2160 by 1080. OLED again, 402 ppi, 18.9 ratio as well for the aspect ratio, and everything else is very similar all the way down. So I mean, you're going to have very similar phones here, except for the size of the screen and a little bit different pixel intensity on those things. The cameras, again, it's going to have that same awesome, but it's a single camera, but it's going to have that single camera, 12.2 megapixel camera on the actual rear camera. Front camera is 8 megapixel. This is for both of them. They have the same cameras. So it's basically going to have a f1.8 aperture all the way down to 1.8, and very similar to all the other cameras. It can do everything from 1080p 30 frames per second all the way up to 4K 30 frames per second on the video camera. And this is going to have all the software, all those features that you get on the Pixel 3, the Pixel 3a, and the Pixel 3 XL are going to have those same features, and that's the reason you buy this phone. So the processor is going to be a big difference here from some of the higher, some of the flagship phones, but you're really not going to notice it probably. And let me go ahead in here. It's basically going to be Qualcomm Snapdragon 670, and then Adreno 615 for the actual image processor. But they're basically going to be the same, 2 gigahertz plus 1.7 gigahertz plus 64-bit octa-core. And it's got the Titan M security module as well. Keep that in mind. That's actually to protect all your data and things like that. Memory and storage here, they're basically going to be 4 gigs only on these phones. So, and then if you open this up, it does only have one option. It's only 64 gigabytes of storage on both of the phones. So that's kind of an unusual, they're trying to do something a little bit different than the flagships. 4 gigs of RAM, people might think is not enough nowadays, but the way that, Google is running pure Android, which is one of the key features of the phone as well, it does a really good job, so you don't need much more than that. So, obviously, this is what you get when you're buying this phone. Dimensions, go ahead and take a look at these. Weight is 147 grams on the 3A and 167 grams on the Pixel 3a XL, so a little bit of difference there. And again, they're going to be a little bit different in the hands, but not much of a difference in the size. Colors are clearly white, just black purplish. They do actually have the full stereo speakers, 2 microphones, and noise suppression. Batteries are going to actually be 3,000 milliamps for the 3A and 3,700 milliamp for the 3A XL. It's going to have a USB-C adapter, 18 watts, and 18-watt fast charging. Big thing here, too, is the 5.0 Bluetooth. So it's going to have Bluetooth 5.0, which is or 5 gigahertz, I guess, for the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0 for the Bluetooth, and then basically NFC is included as well. Obviously GPS and the other things here, Google Cast, are all included in this phone. It should work on any carrier. It's going to be an unlocked phone, so keep that in mind. It does have the active edge sensors. Basically, it has a lot of different features. It's going to also have the 35 or 3.5 millimeter audio jack, which is huge for a lot of people, and that's going to be a key selling point for sure. And then what you get in the box with that of them, you're going to get the charger, the power adapter, USB-C power adapter, basically a 1 meter USB-C to USB-C cable. So basically you can do a conversion there with that cable. Quick start guide, quick switch adapter, and a SIM tool. You don't get headphones. Keep in mind you're going to have to get your own headphones, but they do give you now options with 3 ways to connect. You can connect through the USB-C cable, you can connect through the just the regular jack, or you can actually connect through Bluetooth. So you won't be short on options there. Again, here's the kind of the purplish color, even though it looks a little bit darker here because it's against that flat white. Alrighty, so really quickly, let's go through the pricing on these and the specs. So again, it's $399 for the Pixel 3a, and for $479 you get the Pixel 3a XL. You guys know the differences. We just went through those. And basically, there's not many options when you actually, let's just go ahead and select one. But when you do select something like this, you can actually obviously, go onto Google Fi, Verizon, or you can click an unlock model. And then you get to pick the colors here, which is going to be the same colors we went through. Let's go ahead and pick the purplish. And then you get a couple other different options here as you go through. Now keep in mind that there's no options really for RAM or storage because those are set. So a lot of people are looking for that, and it's just really set to that 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of hard disk space. All right, one last thing to note too is they have a good trade-in program. So if you have like an older Pixel, like a Pixel 2, like a 2XL, something like that, they'll give you about $250 back right now. Again, you have to look at the date of this video because it could change. And then Apple, I think 7XL on the Apple side, the bigger Apple 7 Plus, I believe they call it. I think it's like $250, and then for an 8 Plus, I think it's like $350 right now. And they'll give you that money back. So you can almost get this for almost free if you do that. Anyways, I hope this showed you a little bit about the phone, and let's go ahead and talk to you on the other side. Alrighty, so thanks for watching, and what's my opinion on the phone? Well, actually, like I said earlier, I think it's a great purchase. I mean, the normal Pixels, though, obviously, if you wait like a year or so, you usually creep down into the 600 range, so it's going to make it a little bit harder. But when they come out new, there can be anywhere from like that $900 to $700 range. So when you see a phone for $399 to around $479, and you get that same camera, realistically, I have the Google Pixel 2, I use the 2XL, and I really bought it for the camera. I go on trips. I used to bring a different camera with me on trips and stuff. Now I can use this camera for just about everything, including some video. Not this video, but some. So I do recommend this purchase. I definitely, for the cost point and the specs it includes and some of the the reviews that people are giving on it, obviously I have to wait a little while, but initially I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 stars just because of the price point and what they're able to do with the camera. Anyways, go ahead and leave your comments and things, and just keep in mind that I actually make a couple videos a week. I do it on finance, technology, and some travels. So if you guys can hopefully help me out and subscribe, I have about 200 subscribers. I'm trying to get to the 1,000 if I can ever get there. I have about 50 something videos right now as of today, but I'm just trying to get a little bit of help there. So if you guys can maybe click the like button and thumbs up and things like that, and hit the subscribe button, it's going to help me out. Anyways, I'll see you guys in about a week. Talk to you soon. Bye.